Hey peeps, how you doing today? Today we bring you the second part in this 3-part series about vocal recording. In the last video, which you can catch linked in the description, we covered basic preparation and tracking, i.e. laying down the raw recordings and getting takes. This video is a bit long, I know, 15 minutes, but have a couple of cups of tea and you'll be right. This one covers editing, so trimming up clips, selecting takes and comping, and the process of vocal tuning, because I need it at this point. Anyway, stay tuned and you're going to learn all of that stuff, or at least learn how I approach it, and I'll see you at the end of this video. Ciao. So, some spaghetti and a beer later. Let's see what we're going to do to get this edited and sounding cool. First of all, let's get my screen recording software going. So as you can see here in Pro Tools, which is my DAW of choice, we've got some different takes. So this is the first section. The second section is actually here. It's repeated. It's the same thing. So it's only backing vocals. I'm going to copy paste. And then towards the end, we've got some more takes of the ending section. And what we're going to do in each case is take the best take. So we're going to listen through all the different takes I did, see which one sounds the best, the most emotive, the least flawed, that kind of thing. So let's have a quick peek.
You're a city girl at heart, but maybe here it seems awfully dark at night. Diving head first, dancing the vodka. It's party time.
Comping something we use to pull out the best bits of each take. And you don't have to remember the best bit of each take, you can just do it a section at a time. So what I'm going to do is create a new blank playlist here, or a new playlist rather, and there we are, copy up the best one. So let's have a listen to this first bit. So I didn't like something about the fourth one there. The third one had a bit of a weird tone, so we just compared the first two. The second one wins. Then we did the same for the other sections. Bit of a wobble. Wobble towards the end. Didn't mind the slide, that was quite nice. That was a bit more confident on the pitch. Yoink. So, as is often the way, the first take was pretty much the best all the way through, but we grabbed the second take for the very first line. The use there didn't really need that approach, but just to demonstrate what comping is. So what I'm listening for is any weird cracks in the voice, any rattles when I sing low notes that can have a tendency of coming out, any extra background noise we might not want, the pitch being off. Worse than the pitch being off, actually, because we are going to do a bit of pitch correction, is the pitch varying too much or breaking, or the tone changing too much, because you can't correct that as easily. So we've got our comped track. Just to show you quickly, actually, for the purpose of listening to these tracks, we have a vocal compressor on these. This is just to pull out any of the little low-level noises. So you can see how much it boosts it up. But we'll talk about compression in a bit. Anyway, so after comping or choosing a take, the next bit is editing. And to me, that means cutting out any unwanted noise before or after each section or each take, cross-fading where necessary, and then we're going to do something with the breath noises, because typically you want to cut those out. Anyway, so let's do the editing bit first. So what we're going to do is basically come quite close to the audio signal. There's only a bit of noise here, but we want to get rid of all of it. So we do a little fade in there. If we press tab on Pro Tools, we get to the next blendy bit. And then we can do a crossfade between the two clips, and we can tab to the next, do the same, tab to the next, same, and again. And then we got the noise at the end, which we just cut off. You might get some weird vocal noises, pops or ticks or something here you can get rid of. Cool. Now we're going to deal with the breath sounds, and typically you just want to take them down a whole load. So we're going to be editing the waveform before any compression. Compression, remember, is going to bring up low level signals, cut down high ones. So what I do with Pro Tools is split the clip, and then we've got this clip volume here. It's a nice quick way of just taking down one particular section. Depending on how much breath sound there is, between 10, 15 decibels, something like that. Let's just have a listen. It depends on your compression settings as well. I've got the compressor set to take out, let's have a look, about 6 decibels. And effectively what I did, as you saw, was cut the clip with Control E on Windows, take the clip volume down, so we're taking it out about 12.3 decibels, and then crossfade at the beginning and the end. What that's actually going to do is fade down to the low level, then fade back up. Here's the next one, before and after. And we do the rest. Let's have a quick listen to those two tracks panned left and right. So, a few minor tuning issues, minor for me. The breath sound is still there, but it's nowhere near as in your face as it would otherwise be with a compressor going every so often. You don't want that.
You're a city girl at heart, but maybe here it seems awfully dark at night. Diving head first, dancing the vodka. It's party time.
So let's do the same for the tricky section at the end. Comping. Then we do some simple editing again. So there's a bit of a weird noise here at this part when we are taking two different takes.
Climb this blind never.
Little poppy bit. So we can actually just cut this out here. Take down the breath. It's nice to keep it so it sounds a bit more natural than without. And then we just come back in there before the new one.
To climb this blind never goes away.
Cool. When doing the comping, you sometimes have to pick the point where you go from the first take to the second. So obviously you don't want to catch any of the take that you're cutting from. So you go, let's say, here, and then fade before it would come in. Drop down the breath, and we move on.
Goes away, even in the sunshine.
Boop. There we are. So I call that the basic editing and comping all done. Next up, we are going to do some pitch correction. Okay, so I use Melodyne for tuning my vocals, and first of all, what we need to realise is Melodyne wants a cleaner signal as possible, because it's going to detect the pitch, and we're going to manipulate the sound that's recorded. So if you've got a strange squeaky thing recorded in the background, or a low pop, it's going to have a hard time doing its thing. First of all, we're going to make sure there's nothing weird in the signal. So let's have a quick listen to this, and I'll show you what I mean. Right, so all seems well. We use an EQ. This one is FabFilter Pro Q2, and it's really good. And we're just going to have a look at the very lowest frequencies. Right, I can't really hear it, but around 50 hertz, it looks like there's some low rumbly thing going on, and you can see the fundamental of the note is like 200 hertz, so this really isn't anything to do with the note. So what we're going to do is do a low cut, quite sharp, and just get rid of anything below that fundamental with a bit of breathing room. And we just check the same for the other track, the lower one. Cool. Incidentally, here's the trick. Put the EQ that's going to take out anything like resonances or rumbles before any compression, before any other processing. Corrective EQ first, then compression, then any additive or colouring EQ that you might want to do. Reason for that is if you've got a big boffly resonance and that drives your compressor, when that resonance peaks, everything else is going to fly down and it's going to accentuate that resonance. So fix the signal first, then do your processing, then colour it.
Just a shipwreck off the coast. Coast. Just a shipwreck off the coast. Just a shipwreck off the coast.
Another good thing to listen out for is any resonances, so any squeaks that happen. Look for the loudest sections of the vocal and just any ringing. The Pro Q2 can help with that as well, or any sort of equalizer that's got a spectrum analyzer. When you're starting out, you might hear something or it might sound a bit off and you might not know why, but you check this out and you can see a big resonant peak. This recording doesn't really have much of that at all. But just for the sake of a demonstration, if you listen really carefully on this passage, when I sing coast, you might hear a quick whistle noise. Let's have a listen.
Just a shipwreck off the coast.
So here it is accentuated.
Go.
So yeah, a case of notching out any of those resonances, quick before and after. Before.
Just a shipwreck off the coast.
After.
Just a shipwreck off the coast. You're just a shipwreck off the coast.
In fact, I might leave that in. It's a bit better. Cool, so now we're going to do the tuning. That's with Melodyne, and we just put that after any EQ, any corrective EQ, but pre-compressor signal. And with Melodyne, it's a case of putting it on the track and then hitting this little transfer button, and then you simply play the audio into Melodyne. Now, Melodyne doesn't do very well when you've got tempo changes, so we just are going to play the whole thing into it and transfer in one go. So I'll speed this up. I guess the point is, if you start transferring the audio right from the start of the track, it can't get lost. So if we didn't have to do this, we could just play and transfer just the sections with audio. But as I say, Melodyne gets confused with the bar number or something when you've got those tempo changes. So then in Melodyne we have a wiggly graph. Here's the ooze. It's not too bad. And we can see I kind of hit the mark in some places and not in others. So we can do this. That's muscle memory from editing my vocals. It's this button here, which is correct pitch macro, and then all the way up. And then we'll have a listen. And it doesn't always pick up all the note boundaries, so we can do this. Double click with this tool. And again. And you can just drag it around if you missed the part where the pitch changed. And there's a case of just do that again for those changed ones. This doesn't look right. There we are. And again there. And you can kind of see where the pattern isn't followed. This is a obviously exceptionally straightforward bit. Would have thought I sung it right. That's not too bad. Quick demo before and after. Without and now with. Yeah, just a bit more solid. I'm just going to work on that last bit and then you can hear the result.
Is this proof? Are you prone? You're just a shipwreck off the coast. You're just a shipwreck off the coast.
Okay, cool. Thanks very much for watching the second part of this 3-part series on vocal recording. That was where you just saw it. It was editing and tuning and comping and that kind of thing. The next one is the final one, which covers EQ, compression, reverb, a bit of mixing, and you will actually finally hear the other parts of the track. This was originally going to be one long video. It got too long, so we split it into 3. But finally, you're going to hear a preview of Shipwreck Off the Coast in the next one. And we're also working on that. We've got one of these. Check it out. Oh. It's Cat's fretless bass, and that's being mixed in. You won't see that in the next video, but you'll see it in the actual song. So, thanks very much for watching. Hope you liked it. Do the thumbs up if you did. Subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you in part 3.